away, I want to give an accurate cost breakdown for the very front of this video. So my cost per pound for this pig was $2.07. They're going to take that from the hanging weight, and that's what you're going to pay for, which our hanging weight was 115 pounds, which makes our total for the farmer $238.05. We are going to add that to the $146 processing fee from the butcher, which makes our grand total $384.05, which is going to last this half pig probably about 6 months for my family, give or take, depending on what cut of meat we're talking about. I just got home. I carried in all of our boxes here, opened them up, took a little bit of a peek, and we are going to go over what I got, why I got it, different things like that. So let me start by saying, typically we order a whole pig once a year for our family of 6. See, our youngest is very little, doesn't eat a whole heck of a lot just yet. The oldest of our children is 8, so we are just hitting that stage where our older kids are starting to eat more, different things like that. Typically, we order a whole pig once a year from them. However, when I called just a couple of, like 2 weeks ago, and said, hey, I want to get on your list for spring, they actually said, hey, would you be interested in doing a half now and a half later, because we have half a pig of a batch of pigs that's going in tomorrow, and it's unaccounted for. If you'd be interested in doing that, that'd be really great, because then they don't have to worry about paying for that half of a pig that maybe their family didn't necessarily need, didn't account for spending for, and they don't have to find somebody else to purchase it. So I said, yes, I will do that. So we got half a pig now. We're gonna get half a pig either in the spring or in the fall, just depending on how quickly we go through this pork. So because we did half a pig this time, I kind of wanted to do some things differently in the way we get our pigs processed and different things like that. So basically the rule of thumb when you're ordering in bulk like this from a farmer is the more you have the butcher shop do to your animal, the more expensive the outcome is going to be. So they are going to ask you a ton of questions when you call. They're going to ask if you want things smoked or how you want things cut up. And the more seasonings they have to put in your sausage or whatever it is, the more seasonings they have to put. You're going to see I ordered a whole thing of breakfast sausage. Breakfast sausage, Italian sausage, whatever it is, it's going to cost more. If you want Italian sausage, they have to add the herbs and spices to it. It's going to cost more than if you just have them grind it and get regular pork sausage, and then while you're cooking just add in your basil and your oregano. While you're cooking, you're adding in your basil and your oregano, maybe some celery seed, whatever it is that you would regularly put in sausage. It's going to cost less because they have to do less to it. There's less of their cost going into your sausage, therefore it's going to cost less when you go ahead and order it. So we already talked about it. My total came to $146. Not too bad here. I have my order sheet sitting in front of me. This is actually the first time I'm taking a second to look at it with you guys. So we ended up getting half a pig. They are also going to ask if you want it freezer wrapped, or vacuum sealed, which comes like this essentially, or you can get your things, you can get them put in butcher paper. I always do butcher paper. It's cheaper. We eat through this. I've never had issues with these going bad in butcher paper. If you want to pay more money and you want to get them vacuum sealed, that's something you're more comfortable with, by all means do that. But this is the way we save money, is we just have them wrap it in butcher paper. We've never had an issue with it. Your bacon will come in the vacuum seal, and then the other thing that happens is your sausages will come in your little baggies here. So that's no different. When they're asking for your butcher paper, they're asking for how you want, like these are spare ribs, how you want your pork chops, picnic steaks, hams, things like that. So that's what we always do here. The other thing they ask is how many steaks and how many pork chops you want in your packages. I always do 4. Right now, that's a really good portion for us. Like I said, even though we have 4 kids, they're all pretty little. My littlest 3 pretty much all share one pork chop. My husband has one, I have one, and then our oldest daughter will typically have about half of a pork chop maybe, and that leaves actually leftovers for the next day. So 4 is pretty good for us right now. I'm sure as our kids get older, I will probably bump it up to like 6 pork chops in a pack or 8 pork chops in a pack. But right now it works really well. If I ever want to make sure that we need to have leftovers for the next day, or I'm bulk cooking or something like that. Maybe we're grilling, we have family coming over, I can pull out 2 packs of 4 of pork chops. We'll have 8 pork chops, and that works really well for us currently. So that's typically what we do. I got my hams cut this time. So typically we will get our hams whole. I leave them really big and really giant, which is what we've done with all of our other pigs. This time I had them cut into half hams, and then I got 1 ham. The other ham I made into pork steaks. So they just take your ham and they slice them into steaks. They ask how thick you want them. I got them in a 1-inch thickness. 3/4 is standard. That's what they will typically do. If you're asking, hey, what do you recommend? It's my first time ordering. What's kind of the standard here? I went a little bit thicker. That's how we like it, but that's just how we did it. My roasts I had cut down into 3 or 4 pounds a piece. Pretty standard. Once again, that's typically what they'll do. If you don't know and you say, hey, I'm looking for recommendations, this is my first time, what do you recommend? They'll probably cut them into 3 or 4 pound sections. That's pretty good for my family. Oh, thank you. Like I said, my family is pretty small, but it's still enough where if I wanted to pull that roast out because we're having family come over, or I just want to make a big roast in the crock pot or something, I have a big enough roast, it'll make leftovers, and it'll be really good. I did get my spare ribs. I also did not smoke my hams this time. I did not smoke my ham hocks. The only thing I smoked was the bacon. I wanted to try it differently. Typically we smoke all of it. We smoke the ham and the ham hocks. Pretty much everything that they'll ask, do you want it smoked? I always say yes. This time I opted to say no because we only ordered half this time. I wanted to see, are we gonna notice a difference? Because we're paying for it to be smoked. And what if we get the plain, it's just as is, and we don't notice a difference? Or we end up liking it better because it's a blank canvas and we can kind of do what we want with it. So I did opt to do that this time. We'll see if it really ends up making a difference or not. It's definitely going to make a difference in the cooking time. It's going to take longer to cook, especially those hams that we got, those big roast hams or the ham steaks or things like that, because they're not pre-cooked from the smoke. So we're going to see how that goes. I do also already have some leftover smoked hams in the freezer that we got from our last round of pig that we haven't gone through yet. So for a half hog, and I didn't know this because we've never ordered a half, you can only get one of the following options. You can only get a breakfast sausage, ground pork, or an Italian sausage, or a brat. You can also get your breakfast sausage in bulk, which is what I do here, or they can make them into little sausage links, and you can get like 12 in a package. So you can have them made into links if that's what you prefer. I tend to just get them made in bulk like this because I use these bulk packages for breakfast casseroles. I can press them into my own patties if we want breakfast patties for a breakfast sandwich or something like that. That tends to be how my family eats them. However, I'm thinking that in the future, as our family grows, we might end up ordering 2 whole pigs at a time for our family for a year's worth. If it ever gets to the point where I'm ordering 2 whole pigs for a year's worth for my family, I might end up getting 1 pig made into bulk sausage like this and 1 pig made into links. That way we have options, but for right now, I really like the bulk. So because we only ordered half, I only got breakfast sausage. My thinking on that was we also order our ground beef in bulk. And if I really wanted some sort of an Italian style meat, I can take all that ground beef from the freezer, mix it up with herbs and spices, and turn it more into an Italian style meat for like our spaghetti, the raviolis that we make, different pasta dishes, lasagnas, things like that. Yes. It's going to be a lot harder to make breakfast sausage than it would be to take something else that I already have in the freezer to turn into Italian sausage. I did opt to turn the packages around just because it does have the address and everything on the package, and I just don't want to show that for safety reasons for my family. But this whole box is just ham steaks and pork ribs and picnic roasts, and it is a lot. This is a ham steak and it's over 6 pounds. So if you just do the math on what a ham steak would cost in the store for 6 pounds, I promise you that this is always going to be the cheaper method to buy from a farmer. Cleo's helping out. She's touching all the things because it's not a haul if you don't touch every package, right? This is always going to be the cheaper option to go ahead and pay in, because I paid the same price for this huge 6-pound ham steak as I did for 1 pound of this breakfast sausage. So when you break it down like that, it's always going to be the best. I also opt to keep all of my neck bones. So this is pork neck bones. It's 3.8 pounds. And here's the thing, you guys, whether you decide to keep the neck bones or the tallow or the lard that comes from the pig, you are paying for it anyways. It's not going to be any cheaper because they are going to weigh that pig hanging weight. So that's basically what the pig is hanging on the butcher shelf. That's what you're paying for. So all of that stuff, the bones, the lard, all of that is on the pig, and you're paying for it whether you decide to keep it or not. So I always keep it. The neck bones, my dogs love them. You can make them into a stock. You can can that stock. You can use that stock to make pork gravies, all sorts of different things. I keep it. We always find ways to use it in this box. This is a pork sirloin roast. It's 4.8 pounds. So if you do the math there for in the store versus what I paid, I'm always going to be paying less. So this is what I wanted to take time to show you. This is our lard for our tallow. I did not get a whole lot. Not what I'm used to getting, but once again, that's because we ordered half a pig and not a whole pig. This is unbelievably easy to render down, you guys. You just put it in your crock pot, let it go. It's gonna melt down. You can strain out the impurities just through a strainer, a metal strainer, a cheesecloth, whatever you have. I use this to make pasties. This goes as a shortening for our pasty dough. I use it to season our cast iron pans. You can use it on your leather gloves to keep them waterproof, all sorts of different things. There are a million uses for these. You can use them to use soaps or to make soaps and salves and all the things. But typically, I use this for cooking. I almost exclusively save it for my pasties because we go through it like water, and it's unbelievably delicious. It makes the best pasty filling. We also use them to make hand pies and different things. So that's typically what I use them for. So you can see this whole box is full of nothing but breakfast sausage. My sheet says I got 22 pounds of breakfast sausage off of this pig, which is fantastic. I was not expecting that much sausage off of our pig. And then I also got a whole box of bacon. My sheet once again says that I got just under, I think just over 11 pounds of bacon in here, which is awesome. Breakfast sausage, or we use these. We typically don't go through bacon as quickly. Actually, we still have a whole bunch of bacon left over from the pig we got in the fall. We just tend to gravitate more towards the breakfast sausage than the bacon. However, during pantry challenge last month, I really kind of realized that, so I'm trying to get into the habit of pulling out the bacon more and doing bacon in our breakfast burritos, or just trying to make sure that we are using our bacon in our soups and in our stews more. So that is everything we got with our half a pig. I told you guys I would film a video for you guys telling you guys what we got, why we got it, and the cost breakdown for it. Maybe in another video I can have my husband sit down and actually help me do the math on the breakdown for what we paid for these items versus what they are in a store. I think that'd be really interesting to sit down and think about.